Hello, welcome back to another edition of Soulful Sunday with Awakening with Soulspirational. I am here once again with this lovely group of people, and today's topic is joy. So we're all going to go around, we're going to share our joy with you. Before we start to share though, I want to put in a little plug for Anne's Pastry here in Wadsworth. We were recently talking about Anne's Pastry, her donuts, or the donuts, and the brownies. So, as much as all of you bring me joy, so do the brownies from Anne's Pastry, with a powdered sugar at the bottom and just that thick layer of icing at the top where there's the German chocolate or it's the peanut butter. So I am going to start the joyful topic with Anne's Pastry, so a little plug. All right, so let's talk about what brings us joy. So you can get personal, or you can just talk about it in whatever sense that you would like to. Does anybody want to start? Let's go talk about joy.
Okay. My granddaughters bring me joy. I mean, they can be like vicious little kids and I still love them to death. I mean, they just bring a smile to my
Just love
face. But they're not. They're cute and everything.
They're little fairies.
Yeah, they are. And they just need a little guidance here and there. But I mean, just so cute. You know, and they just make me smile.
Is there, you know me, I go deeper.
Mm-hmm.
So is there something in particular that they do that brings you joy?
Well, my eldest granddaughter looks just like her mother when she was that age, and does pretty much the same stuff. And of course, Corey wouldn't agree with me, but yeah, she does. I mean, she's a lot like Corey was. She looks just like her.
Yeah.
Then Evie, she's just, she reminds me of a little cartoon character. She's just so cute, and she just does a lot of stuff that just makes me laugh. I mean, I could be in the most down mood in the world. I go over there and just like, right away. It's fun.
They're wonderful.
Yeah. And you know, when my daughters were younger, it was the same feeling, but with them it's just something different. It's just unreal.
It's a beautiful feeling because we get them for this much time.
Yeah.
Now, I know that there are other grandparents out there that have custody of their grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe I should ask them if it is just as joyful for them as it is for us.
Well, like I
That
said, you
gets
can
reached
sugar
for
them
them.
up and send them home, you know,
Right.
that kind of thing. It's real joyful for you.
Bye-bye, honey.
Not so much for mom and dad, though.
You know, no. But you know, I love watching the kids, my grandkids, with that inquisitiveness.
Mm-hmm.
The things that they get into, the things that they say that I know for myself because my kids are in their 20s, so I've been a bit removed from that young talk. And some of you, I may have told this story to recently. I know I did with Anne. I was over visiting the grandkids last week, and with the girls, I was having them write their name over and over. And so Kira gets done, and I said, now spell it for me. And she said, with my mouth? That brought me joy. I was like, yes, honey, with your mouth, not with your pen.
The genius of a child.
Because we just don't know what is going on in those young minds.
No.
And it is pretty...
And they're unimpeded, too. They just say what comes out. There's no watching what they say. They just say it.
Oh, yeah, the twins are like sass masters.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say whatever. But the Lennon, he's just over a year now, and you know, so he's at that and walking as like a drunk man walk. You know, so he puts me on edge because of the corner. So it's a little less joyful only because that
It's
age.
a little scary, yeah.
That age, which is why he has marks, you know, on him. Because he falls a lot because he's walking in that drunken stupor. And, like, he wants to get over there and he's aiming for it, but everything is just coordinate. It's like, no.
Been there.
Right, and that was well after you were one, right?
I wonder, how did he get on top of that refrigerator?
Oh my goodness, thankfully he isn't doing that kind of stuff. But otherwise, like to see him in his jumper thing,
Yeah.
like, yeah, he brings me joy.
Yeah.
The walking. And I think do you have grandkids?
No.
Because you have
I
a
have a
son.
son.
No grandkids yet.
Not
So-
that I'm aware.
Fair enough, fair enough. So we'll keep on the grandkid thing before we switch over.
Yeah, my grandsons, 4 and 7, just total joy. And they're so different. Their appearance is different and their actions. My 7-year-old is hyper and just always full of joy. The little one is a little more sober and he's dark with dark eyes. And he looks like his dad. And they're just so different and they just always bring me joy. But when I was listening to Rick talk, my dad was a farmer. He always dressed in the blue bibs and the blue shirt and the blue cap. And a neighbor passing, said, you know what, whenever I see your dad, they lived a quarter mile from me, when I see your dad look at your children, he's just got all this love and almost, and I had 2 sons and then a daughter, and when my dad saw my daughter, he just started crying almost. He was so happy to see a little girl. It was just, but when I see, the kids are just amazing. And I waited 60 years to have a grandchild, so it's really precious, but kids they just bring so much joy, And I think with the parent, at least for me, there was always a lot of guilt or I'm not doing it right, but with grandchildren you can just really appreciate everything,
And love those things that maybe as parents we would have been upset about,
Right.
or as we're still learning, maybe in the moment being ashamed, or today it's like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Complete different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost as if, at least at these ages, almost as if there's nothing they could do wrong.
Right.
It's like, oh, you pushed your sister.
Stay that age.
Oh no, don't do that. But right. And
Don't hit your sister with that board.
right, because I'm smiling because you're so cute. And
Yeah.
it brings me such joy. What was it that you just said last?
Just stay that age.
Stay that
No.
You know what? There are times where, like, I'll think that, like, oh,
I
they're
know, that's
growing
not
up.
a good thing.
And then it's like, no, it's the thing that I wish that I would have done more when my kids were little is to appreciate them in the moment more often. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm glad that they're growing. I just want to.
Yeah. No, it is
Hold on to
true.
that.
And every time we see the boys, even if it's a week, they've grown. And mentally as well, both of them, just they're growing tall and the little one has some development delays and he's just blossoming and it's so awesome to see that.
That's
And
joyful.
he's so happy, much happier than he used to be, so.
And it's great because as empaths too, just picking up that joy and feeling that joy that they're feeling in the moment, being with grandma and grandpa. All right, I can do this whole episode on grandbabies. I know you had joy. You had joy once.
I was just
Noel
gonna
had
say
joy once.
that it's such a random thing for me. I think happiness is one thing, like expected moments, or even, I guess expected moments are, to me, are viewed as just happy things, or or if you're enjoying something like this is just happy. Like joy to me is a full experience, so it has to come very randomly, like like just when you notice a little dog at the park and it just does something to you. It's so random for me. Nothing is, can't really think of anything that is joyful. It's just such an overwhelming thing from my perspective. Happiness is one thing, joy is an experience. It's what do they call that? It's enveloping, I guess. That's just how I view it, that's all.
Okay.
I know, I think too much, but.
The psychologist in the group.
Yeah.
Right.
I do, I think too much about it, so it's hard for me to find those moments, so they have to be very random, you know. I'm not joyful winning $50, but I am in the thousands arena. You know, it has to be something
Right.
overwhelming for me to react, for my system to be.
Was there like a certain food or wine that you like that just brings you
No,
happiness?
well, I don't drink alcohol.
Oh, well.
Happiness is one, like she said, happiness is one thing. I agree with that. Joy is another, you know.
It's, I don't know if there's any, it's, you know, it could be anything anyone does. It could be any person, any moment, but that's the key word, moment,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just finding the joy in that moment.
Yeah, you know, and I think it's hard to sustain the type of energy that comes along with joy. I think that would be kind of tiring. You know, Kira saying with my mouth, like, that was like in the moment, like it was so joyful for
Random,
me.
yeah.
But to stay up all the time.
I think, kind of going off of that, I think joy is one of the most visible emotions I think that you can have, because at least when I'm experiencing or in a state of joy, I mean, I can feel it, I breathe easier, I walk a little bit taller. You know, I don't think you can really hide joy as much as you can like certain other emotions like sadness and despair. You can conceal that, but joy, I think out of all the emotions, is so visible. I mean, you could look at someone and say they are really happy right now. It radiates, I think, from a person when they're in that state of mind.
Yeah, sometimes people come up, you're glowing today.
Yeah, exactly.
This
You know,
and
you'll hear stuff like that, you know, and it means something. It makes you, it builds everything in you. You're confident, like you
Yeah.
said. It's just a feeling you can't describe.
Yeah.
Because it's so,
And it's paying it forward.
yeah.
You know, because when you can see somebody's light and their joy, you see them smiling, exude that joy, it's hard. Again, especially as empaths, to not like feel that too, and if you're having a crappy day. And then somebody calls and they're just, you can just hear all the joy, like, this just happened. And then you're like, oh, my heart just smiled. You know, it's like the Grinch, my heart grew 3 sizes that day. You know, and it's like, oh, thanks for calling, man, because you just lifted my spirits. So, yeah. That's, and you know what that takes me to, because today's the afternoon of joy.
Mhm.
Like, I can still picture you in the joyful, mindful walking meditation. I can still picture you just
That was,
being enveloped
yeah,
in that
that was wonderful.
in that joy.
Yeah.
Like, that still brings me joy.
Yeah.
Joy.
Oh, joy to me is, I mean, just, it's hard to describe, but I would say a room full of people laughing at the same thing at the same time.
Oh, then you have to sing an
Uncontrollably.
afternoon of joy.
You know, it's yeah, I don't know about that, but
We're gonna do laughing
I
meditation.
don't know if I'm
We're
up to it.
just
I'm
going
going
to laugh.
I might be going to my mother, so.
Oh.
Perhaps the opposite of joy.
Speaking of joy.
Well, everything has
Should
an
I get the
opposite.
gun?
No, I got it.
You got it in the car.
It's on tape. Be careful what you say.
Oh. I said gum. You got the-
Yeah, my gum is licensed, so we're okay.
So that brings you joy when you walk into a room full of people laughing.
Yeah, and I don't care why they're laughing. I don't care if I tripped and fell over my shoelace but it's just, that's joyful to me, having everyone uncontrollably laughing, or even if there's just 2 people in the room, if you're laughing, if everybody's laughing, that's joy. Or children, hearing kids laugh.
It's kind of contagious, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when children laugh,
Yeah.
it cracks you up, you know.
I think that's one of the reasons why, you know, we like to be around children, is because they live so much in the moment. You know, they don't have or have not yet, hopefully, you know, are being allowed to be kids and haven't been introduced to, you know, outside pressures. You know, when they're painting that picture, their world consists of painting that picture or coloring, you know, and they are so just in the moment. And I think, you know, being around, you know, younger people, kids, can teach us to kind of slow down a bit, breathe a little bit, and just come back to the present moment. You know, that's one of the things I get from teaching, you know.
Be in that moment of joy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we're in the moment. The one conversation we had about...
Well, that's how you experience joy, is in
Yeah,
the moment.
in the moment.
Yeah.
And then we're not missing those. Because I feel like I missed a moment last night where Corey was talking before about somebody not acknowledging her daughter at the grocery store,
Mm-hmm.
and how sometimes we're just up in our heads and we can miss a moment. Anyway, that just kind of came back to me last night. I felt like I missed a moment because we do have other things. But yes, when you can be in that moment and you're watching a kid or you're listening to them laugh or they just say the silliest things, or because you have one of yours is a climber, isn't she?
Yeah, she had my lower lip on top of my head yesterday. And I was just laughing all the way through it. It hurt too. But and Corey's going, "Don't climb on Grandpa like that."
That's funny.
Oh, but they just bring me laughter. I can't help it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's really cool.
Thanks for the visual.
I know, that's why I paused a moment. I'm actually watching Evie climb up overhead.
Yeah, it's like, don't quit climbing on Grandpa. My glasses are broken. My
Right,
lips are bare.
right.
Yeah,
That's okay.
it's more.
Do you remember a day with your children when if they were doing that, you'd be like, get
Yeah.
off of me,
Yeah.
or whatever. And it's so funny, the older you get, you know, like I don't have grandchildren yet, but it's, boy, I would let them do whatever they want.
Sure, and you don't care.
No.
You're not as concerned about it.
But I think back, and I kind of did that with my kids. I gave them a lot of freedom and just to express themselves, because the worst thing you can do is when someone's in that great moment is to go, don't do that, or don't calm down, or, you know, it's such a horrible thing to do to somebody, you know, and this little kid is just like, boy, did you just change their life when you did that.
You suck the joy out of them.
You just took the life right out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it gives, I guess, credence to grandparents who just lay there and let their lips be pulled over their head. Because, you know, what a nice thing you're doing for the kids, you know?
Yeah.
Just,
It'll go back to normal in
yeah,
a day or
you
two.
know that, right?
It's just hanging a little low there.
It's a valuable thing to be.
It's playful.
Elastic.
Uh-huh. Bounced right back.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, when we first brought up the topic, two things instantly came to my head. One, my son. My son, my son, my son. Every time I think about him, he lights up my life. Daily. Daily. There is not a day that goes by that I don't get some sort of joy from my son. If it's, he's doing homework, he's struggling, he pushes through it, I help him. Even if we argue about it for a minute and I walk away and then light bulb. Oh, I get it. Yes, you got it, you learned something. I try to get in the habit of asking him every day during the school year, what did you learn today that was different that you didn't know before? And sometimes he'll tell me something that he actually learned in the classroom, and other times it's, I learned something about somebody else that was new today. I learned that my friend has a sister, or that whatever the case may be.
That's wonderful.
Awesome. So every single day my son brings me joy. True joy. The other thing is when I go to my happy place, I have this memory, so many memories of my grandparents because I spent so much time with them as a child. But one in particular is of my grandparents before my grandmother had a series of strokes that kind of knocked her out for a few years. They were standing in the hallway. We were getting ready to go somewhere of their condo, and that's my happy place, is their condo. It's the beach, of course, also, but when I want to feel comforted, I go there in my mind. And they're singing and laughing, and kind of Grandpa's twirling her around the hallway. And they had the most beautiful love I've ever seen. And that's how I imagine them in heaven, is
Still dancing.
and singing and being joyful.
You're gonna make me cry, Kelly.
Sorry. So it's, those two things immediately came to my mind.
It's beautiful. I'm still picturing him dancing, and your son is so handsome.
Oh, Thank you.
Such a beautiful eyes.
He is such a good boy.
Do you want to share joy with us?
Sure. My daughter brings me joy. She's 11, and she's just so funny. She's just always cracking jokes, and she likes to also dance and sing and make things, and she wants to be a YouTuber. So she constantly has her computer on record, and she's doing something. I recently, just the other day, I just bought her some modeling clay. And she's been making like food for her dolls, like donuts, and she made a doll today. I can't believe the detail that she made with this. And she has her computer in front of her, and she's talking to all of her followers, and she doesn't post anything, but she's pretending that she is. So just her excitement and just listening to her do that, it's just really makes me very happy and joyful to hear.
Got a star/artist
Yeah.
in the budding.
She's had a lot of things happen over the years emotionally, and she's been through a lot, and she's very strong, and it makes me very happy and filled with joy just how she overcomes so much. So
Yeah, well, there's nothing better than listening to your kids laugh, is there?
she still laughs. I mean, just all the things that have happened, just to hear her laughing about something, it's just makes me want to laugh too.
Beautiful.
I think that goes back to what Matthew pointed out, that the kids live in the moment. And they have such active imaginations, and it's just so fantastic. So you could be, by giving her that set, you could be cultivating, she could be an artist someday.
Yeah,
It's a hobby.
she enjoys it, so.
Mom gave me something that brought me joy, and then you get the joy in return. It's like instant.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the sculpting and
Yeah, just before I left, she showed me she had seen somebody, another YouTuber, make like a little doll, and she had made this doll, and I just can't believe the detail. She made the head, and the hair had like the little lines in it, and made the body. I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine making something like that. And just painting, and it's very cool.
and the type of person, the bit that I know of you, kind of jumping back over to what Nobel was saying too, like to help them to express their joy in that moment too, and because it feels good when we're doing something that brings us joy, when other people are sharing the joy and encouraging us to continue experiencing the joy.
Yeah, I know when I do these live murder mysteries on the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad, and at the end when everybody's leaving, they're leaving with such smiles on their faces, and they're so happy and so uplifted. That gives me joy to see them leaving with such joy, that maybe even if it was just for 2 hours, they were able to come in and forget their troubles or forget whatever is bothering them, and sharing that with them, I leave with a state of joy, giving someone else joy. So it is, you're right, it's contagious.
Nothing's more joyful than murder.
Especially the way we do it. Yes. Especially the way we do it. Yes.
Well, and getting out can be joyful for some of us that tend to hibernate or be reclusive.
I always wanted to do that, murder mysteries, and like go to a house all night where the butler murders somebody and you gotta figure it out.
Like you gave a clue or something?
Something
like that.
something like that. I read about it, but I never looked into it.
That would be interesting.
We should do that.
Sounds fun, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Do they pick the different endings, what you do?
Nope.
Do I get to
so
kill
you have
somebody?
You could. Yes.
But in a joyful way. This
In a legal way.
is
This
joy.
time. Just kidding.
So with that, this group brings me so much joy.
I was having a moment this morning and said, thank you, God, that I get to come here today because I needed this.
And I thank God that you were able to be here. When I don't see you guys for a while, I do sometimes like just come over and I can just be in your guys' joy and your light, because you leave a piece of you. I get rid of all the yuck stuff, so I keep all the good parts of you that were here, and it brings me. I know.
Well, I bought 3 quarts of yuck in today.
Sometimes we're healing in this space,
Yeah.
so I get rid of that stuff. And I feel the joy. I feel the joy from what is left over here. Like to be in my own place and to come here and to feel it is just lovely. It's just lovely.
Well, yeah.
So thanks for bringing me your light and your joy.
Yeah, thank
Your love, thank you. And I love watching the eyes just sparkle. All right, maybe not all the time with Noelle, she's our thinker.
Well, somebody has to take that role.
Right. Somebody's gotta bring this group down. You're just a little too high on joy today.
Some years ago, I dated this guy. He goes, I don't like you. He goes, you think too much. He dumped me.
See, I looked at it like, oh, well, I don't have to think at all.
Right, see? The optimist, that's awesome. That's right, she'll answer my questions for me. That's
I'm
perfect.
sorry, what? You got this one?
Right. Whoops. Okay, so with that, if I get this to stop here.
Laugh at it, it'll stop.
All right, I'll just restart it. So thank you all for bringing me joy and your light and your love. Thank you.
Yuck.
No, the love, the laughter, really, the laughter. We won't even go there. I gotta get the Kleenex ready. The two of them just, and we won't go there. And the love and the laughter, thank you for the joy for all of you. For those of you at home, thank you for watching today's episode, Soulful Sunday Joy. The Clapper Awards are coming up soon, so if you're interested in voting for this show, for some other show, the voting is going on from October 1st through October 22nd. So you can either go to WCTV's Facebook page to vote there, or you can go to wadsworthcity.com and there will be a link to vote there as well. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at info@soulspirational.com. So until next time, thank you, be well, and namaste.
Be joyful.
And be joyful.